Yo, it's the Concrete Yogi here, checking in with you from Hollywood Beach in Hollywood, Florida. As you can see, it's a beautiful day. It is an absolutely beautiful day. It started with a little overcast, but then we got to practicing. We saluted the sun, grateful for another glorious, blessed day. And who'd have thought? The sun comes out, joins us, he blesses us, and here I am. I was able to join you from here, this location. All right, the last episode I talked a little bit more about Atha Yoga Nushasanam. When the practice finds you, or rather when you find the practice, it's gonna take something, maybe a little something stirring in your life, something that make you stressed or worried or sad or depressed or anxious, all these different emotions that come at you a million miles an hour. What you do with them is up to you. Do you react to them? Do you let them overwhelm you? Do you observe them and analyze them and take a step back? That is the practice. So it's when you decide, I've had enough of this sadness, I've had enough of this suffering, I've had enough of this depression, this anxiety, I've had enough. And nothing that I've been looking for, nothing that I've been reaching towards has been helping me, because a lot of the times what happens is when we get in these moments, we lean towards the things that just mask the depression, it masks the anxiety, it masks the sadness or the stress or the worries or the fears. Things like alcohol, drugs, sex, all these other things that are external stimulus. The outside world can bombard you constantly with entertainment, so if you don't feel like ever having to face the problems, you don't have to. You can always find some sort of distraction in the outside world. But that's only going to be fleeting. It's only going to be for a moment or two or three or four, maybe if you're lucky. So what do you do instead? You take a step back from that, and you think of the source of the stress and the worries and the fears, all those other emotions that I went over. Now the source of them, that's also fleeting. That's also in the moment. It doesn't also have to be responded to with emotion. You see, that's the detachment that you make. So instead of seeing the idea, seeing the thought as something negative and taking that burden on with you and then reflecting it into your reaction and reflecting it to the people around you and the things you're doing and the world around you, instead, what you do is you recognize that that moment is fleeting. And by analyzing that, by being cognitively aware of that fleeting moment, then you have the opportunity to detach from it. To immediately detach from it. So when you realize that that moment that causes the stress is fleeting, the source of the fleeting stress, then you have the opportunity now to decide if that even stresses you out. You have the opportunity to decide what really matters. What are you really prioritizing in your life? Is it the fact that you can breathe fresh air? What a blessing that might be. You have 10 fingers. Do you have 10 toes? Do you have 2 arms and 2 legs? Was the sun shining on you today at any point? Did you wake up this morning? You are blessed. You are blessed. So these things that constantly seem like they're going to be there to stress you, worry you, build anxiety, resentment, all these feelings that they can pile up. They don't just come and go, they can pile up. So over years of living, you've been building this pile, but wait, you don't want to build it anymore. Now, not only can you stop building it, you can actually unbury yourself. It's practice. It's practice. And once you decide that that's what you want to do, Atha Yoga Nushasanam, that's when the practice starts. That's really when it begins for you. If you start in the practice earlier, then you might just think that you're exercising. If you start that you want to be more flexible so that you can have mobility in the gym, then you're just going to feel the same thing. You're going to feel like you're going through a stretch, but I don't know. You might walk into someone like Ma's class and you might not be stretching very much. It's all about focus. It's all about concentration. It's all about quieting the mind of the nonsense and the external noise that's constantly distracting you and constantly bringing you these stresses, worries, fears. I could go over them a million times. But before I let you go, I want to remind you, this is the foundation. When you recognize that those things are fleeting, when you recognize that the emotions they call upon are fleeting, then you know your why. You have given up with all of the things that don't work anymore. You've given up trying to mask these feelings with drugs and alcohol and the external entertainment. And you try something new. You open your mind and you decide to look in. You decide to look in. That's when the practice starts. Sutra. I haven't touched on it enough this episode, but next time I will definitely go deeper into it. The sutras. It means a thread or a suture. You can hear the word suture, like a stitch. So to stitch things together, the sutras are individual aphorisms woven perfectly together. One on its own, being spoken in the refined language. Sanskrit means the refined language. One on its own carries heavy, heavy weight. And I prove that to you. We've gone over now in 3 episodes, Atha Yoga Nushasanam. We're not done. But that just shows you one line and how deep and how much you can expound upon the meanings. Okay, the same idea goes for the second and the third and the fourth, all the way up to, I believe it's the 198th of these sutras. Each one stands alone, powerful. But when woven together, ooh, it paints a beautiful picture. Remember your why? You want to get past these things? That's your foundation. This is the one body you have to use to get to these goals of peace of mind, liberation, freedom, and calm and quiet of mind. It starts now. Atha Yoga Nushasanam. I am the concrete yogi. Stay with me. We're just getting started. Peace, blessings. You are loved.